the Book of Alpha-Ronomy, homie. Read it or weep.
What's going on, my Alpha brethren? You know, growing up in the hood, you realize and accept that everyone either has a hustle or a scam, but they're all called hustles. And one of the many hustles I remember that I had a problem with is the hustle of standing on the side of the highway like you needed help and robbing people when they pulled over to be good Samaritans. One that I recall in particular that was really evil in my mind. Not to say that I had a right to point the finger at anyone, because, you know, I did some pretty unscrupulous things in my time in that environment as well. But nothing to the level of not attempting in my mind to give people fair exchange. But one that I remember in particular was leaving a baby carrier or a baby stroller or some type of contraption that, you know, people use to transport babies, not children, babies, on the side of the highway with a well-hidden, realistic-looking baby doll in the contraption. People will pull over. Someone would run out of a nearby ditch or some bushes nearby or behind a tree or whatever and rob and sometimes kill the people. Another one that I was almost victim to myself, only because I had just gotten a new whip and no one knew it was mine. But of course, you know, I kept that pie out in the whip and the big boy in the trunk. This was when cops drove the old Crown Vic cars. They'd equip their cars with the police lights, the real police lights. The headlights would flash. They flash on top. The rearview mirrors would flash. And they pull people over and rob them. And this was something that was mostly used to rob D-boys. So I won't go into the details about, you know, my incident, because even though the statute of limitations has run out on it, I won't go into detail about it. But there is one that a woman recently fell victim to, and it too involved a baby. Can you imagine what kind of person would involve a human being's need to rescue a baby in order to rob them, and in this case, kill them? Today we're going to talk about the story of Jacqueline Smith, an engineer in Baltimore who lost her life in front of her family after falling victim to such a scheme. Now, we will also discuss why this took place, even though her husband was driving the car when they pulled over to fall victim to this scam. So she was victim to the scam, but he's responsible as the protector and guide of his family. Let's chop it up. Now, Jacqueline Smith was fatally stabbed by a panhandler in Baltimore on Friday, November 30th. The reason was she was compelled to give money to a person on the side of the highway holding a sign that read, "Please help me feed my baby." As I stated earlier, she was an engineer and she was riding with her family when they saw the woman. They said she looked like she was in her early 20s, so we're talking about one of these young thidots holding something that looked like a baby. And that sign, you see, the well-made baby doll, the well-hidden baby doll, the well-disguised baby doll, and a sign that said, "Please help me feed my baby." When she rolled down the window to the passenger side to give money, a man approached the car, stabbed her, grabbed her necklace and ran. And the woman who was holding the baby snatched her purse and dipped, or ran away, for those who are less inclined to understand the verbiage. Her family rushed her to the hospital, But of course, as I stated, she died, so they couldn't save her life. Now her husband, whose name is Keith, said she was trying to help one out. And he said that the reality is we forget the times we're living in. How can you forget the times you're living in? You cannot possibly forget that unless you are a recluse. The type of recluse that does not watch the news, that does not talk to people, that does not understand anything that's going on in the environment. We know what type of environment we live in. But this just goes to show, man, that you have to equip your family with the understanding of the times we live in, and you can't let people pull on your heartstrings. There are still women who will pull over and give somebody a ride, man. No woman should ever pull over and give somebody a ride. Hell, sometimes even if she knows the person, if she doesn't know him, recently, if it's not a recent interaction, just because she knows somebody from 10 years ago, you shouldn't pull over and give anybody a ride. But these are the type of things that happen in this society. Why would you even pull over and allow this to take place? It is damn near winter in Baltimore. No one is outside with a little baby. But even if she was, you cannot save the world. Women think they can. And beta male simple anginas allow them to manifest that understanding and idea of what's going on in their environment. It is not a logical thought process. So as a man, if you're in a situation and you cannot train your woman to follow your lead, she doesn't need to understand logic. She needs to understand how to follow your lead. Because no man in his right mind is going to pull over to the side of the road and help someone who's holding a sign like that. It's okay to be selfish. You can help the poor and needy, but you have to at least know for sure that they're poor and needy. The problem is most people have poor and needy motherfuckers in their family that they don't want to help. You don't have to look far. If you're black, so-called black in this country, you don't have to look far to find the poor and needy. 9 times out of 10, you're related to them. So the moral of this story is, women, never pull over to the side of the road and help anyone. Because to be perfectly honest with you, anyone who is standing on the side of a highway looking for assistance from strangers is either a crook or someone who is mentally disturbed. And though I do wish that the country enforced a better way to deal with the mentally ill who are walking our streets, wondering, I do also understand that a person who is mentally unstable is a very dangerous person, especially to the group that is most victimized in this society. Y'all comment down below and let me know what you think about this story, man. And if you've had these situations, if you have women around you who do this, if you believe as a man that you should be this type of good Samaritan and that it benefits you, or if you too agree that it is perfectly okay for you to be selfish when it comes to these situations, because the poor and needy are closer to you than someone who is a stranger standing on the side of the highway with a fake baby and a sign that reads, "Please help me feed my baby." I'm out.
Like this video on your way out if you enjoyed the content. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. When you subscribe, click that notification bell. Make sure your notifications are on so you can be alerted to when I upload some more of this real shit. And as always, alpha's up, beta's down. Peace.